Continuing with the yin-yang styling systems, let's talk about the romantic family. I've been sick and actually super busy, so we're just going to ignore my lack of uploads for basically the whole year and just jump back in where we left off. I previously talked about the two yang types, so those were the sharp types and then the blunt types. If you want to learn more about those, these are the videos, or you can check this playlist. Yin is soft, curved or curvaceous, basically the same thing, rounded, flowy, lush, organic and circular. So when I say organic, if you don't know much about art and design, it's just about like circular shapes that just kind of flow like this, I guess. Here's a picture, it's easier like that. Versus more angular shapes. So organic and angular are just opposites. All of my videos about the yin-yang styling systems are going to be about lines. So when it comes to awarding certain descriptions, when I say, for example, circular, it's not that you look like a circle. And yin and yang have been like the representation of feminine and masculine. This is just a way to describe lines. You don't have to think that yin is feminine and yang is masculine, because that's not what we're talking about today. If you're soft, you're going to have mostly rounded features. Most of them are going to be curvy and lush. If a soft type was a geometric shape, it would be a circle with just curved lines and rounded edges. Not that you look like an actual circle. If you have seen my other videos on yin-yang features, then you know the difference between yin, circular features, and yang, either blunt or sharp features. Might be easier to see it. So round versus angular. And here's also a few examples on how yin looks on people. An important disclaimer for this video is that curviness has been a very desired trait, and a lot of people have gotten surgery to achieve that look. So there might be people that have had work done, but for the sake of the video, let's just pretend they're natural. Like there's a lot of people that do look like that in real life. So they're just examples. I'm not saying that they themselves look like that and they didn't get anything done. If you haven't seen this other video about my introduction to yin and yang styling systems, then you should probably start there so that you can understand everything. I know it's been a long time, so if you watched it a million years ago, all you need to remember right now are the definitions of frame, vertical line, and regular lines. Let's refresh your memory. So first we have frame, and frame is your bone structure. So that would be about how narrow or wide you are. Your frame size is going to be basically the main feature that determines how much your body can handle in terms of visual weight. In the case of romantics, the frame size is going to depend on the specific subtype they are, because they can be narrow, they can have a regular frame, or they can be slightly wide. Then we have your vertical line, which is not necessarily about how tall you are, it is about your perceived height. So how tall you look in comparison to how tall you really are. Technically, romantics have a moderate or regular vertical line, but a lot of them do tend to be shorter. Then we have lines, which is basically deconstructing your body and features into geometric shapes and lines. And the types of lines we have are soft, sharp, and blunt. Romantics are the type with the soft lines. Another disclaimer is that I've been using and I'll continue using mood boards to give examples, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm typing that person. In case you see them on my blog as something else, I am using those pictures to illustrate how those features look, because we're all a mix of features, so maybe you have a very yin face, but the rest of your body is very yang, so I might include that here, but I am not necessarily typing you as a romantic. Romantics are the yin type. One of their main characteristics is their curves, and that's because of the rounded lines. Now, when I say curvy, it doesn't mean plus size. It's about organic lines and organic shapes. I really enjoy these topics, of course, that's why I do this, but I understand that it can be a little bit overwhelming for a few people. So if you want me to help you with this, or if you want to get a color analysis done, then all you have to do is go to kibbestyling.com. If you go there, you can also get my free ebook. It's about how to build the perfect capsule wardrobe. With capsules, there's always this issue where they're kind of boring and generic. So this is a guide on how to build your own capsule in a way that is actually functional for your life and that's a little bit more fun. Each one of us has different features, even if we belong to the same family, and that's why we have subtypes. There are 2 types in the romantic family. I don't actually give them names because it's easy for me just to describe lines, but since it's familiar to most people that already know about yin-yang styling systems, or if you go somewhere else to read about them, then I will include the traditional names. First, we have the pure romantics, and they are the person that embodies everything that we have been talking about till this point of the video, because they are that pure yin type with the soft and curved structure. Remember that when I talk about soft, curvy, and fleshy, I do not mean plus size, but I am talking about your body flesh and your structure and your lines. That can translate into maybe having a bigger bust, wider hips, or a larger bum. Then we have the theatrical romantics, and they are the romantic type that also has sharp lines. They still have those lush features, but they are not as accentuated because they also have some sharp features. If you saw my other videos, then you know that I added a few extra types. I didn't do that with the romantics, and I'm sticking to the 2 original ones. I just mentioned the sharper version of the romantic family, and there are 2 types of yang. So what happens with the blunt type of yang? Technically, the soft and blunt type is the soft natural. Some people might be wider than a regular romantic, or maybe they have more soft features than a regular soft natural. But I don't think the difference is that big for me to create a whole different type, unlike the others. So how does that look on plus size people? Remember that being KIBBE and lush doesn't translate into being plus size, and not all plus size people are going to be a soft type. Unfortunately, it's kind of hard to find examples, so if there's a plus size person that you want me to type, just add that in the comments. How should romantics dress? You want to wear flowy, delicate and rounded lines that mostly follow your body's outline. The majority of that is going to be organic lines that create a soft look. It is not angular at all. If you're a variation of the type, then you also have to take that into account. So let's talk a little bit about the theatrical romantics. They can benefit from wearing certain items that are a bit sharper and sleek, but maybe don't add as many lush details, and be careful with overwhelming your narrow frame. In that case, wearing silhouettes that taper at certain points will create a flattering silhouette without overpowering the structure. Let's go back to styling both romantics as a whole. Ornate and lush items go perfectly with your body structure. You won't be overwhelmed by them. But remember that they have to be curved and delicate instead of bold, sharp or blunt. Drape styles are constructed with your body outline in mind. That doesn't mean that you have to wear bodycon items all the time, but you do want to have waist emphasis. If you have ever worn a very structured blazer or a straight dress, maybe it made you look a bit boxy without that being your intention. If you want to avoid that, then having some sort of torso definition is going to be a must. Even if I make these videos, it doesn't mean that you have to dress like that. It is about knowing and learning how certain items interact with your body, and then you can choose what you want to do. If you're going for that boxy look, then you know these are the garments that you want to wear. If you're going for a silhouette that follows your outline, a softer look, then these are the things that you have to follow. All of that is your choice, not mine. I'm just letting you know. If you're plus size, you should still look for the same type of lines that follow your body's outline. If you don't have a very defined waist, consider going for underbust definition as an alternative. The goal is for your garments to cinch in at the narrowest part of your torso. You'll also want to keep that fluidity. For example, lowering the neckline if you have larger breasts to avoid cluttering your look. Let's talk about the opposite. What should romantics avoid? And this goes for all of the types. You want to avoid anything that's stiff and boxy. Very heavy fabrics will fit into that category as well. You also want to avoid anything that looks harsh and overly angular, as it will clash with your lines. While romantics are not necessarily very short, you want to avoid items that look too long for you. Shopping can be a little bit overwhelming sometimes, even though I love it. But if you still want to try some new items and some new clothes, then you should check out StitchFix. StitchFix is a clothing subscription service, and they deliver curated outfits to your house so that you can try out new products and brands. You can pause it at any time and either go with a stylist and they'll recommend those things that curate them for you, or you can also choose pieces if you like anything from the website. This is my promo code if you want to try out StitchFix, and it will also be down in the comments. Let's talk about where to shop. You can shop anywhere or find random pieces in a few different stores, or thrifting, which is also a helpful way to find unique items. Anyway, here's a few suggestions of brands that mostly carry items with softer lines. If you're a romantic or one of these soft subtypes, you're more than welcome to also share the places that you like to go to. So here's my list of brands for regular and plus size fits. We have been talking about their features for a while, so naturally, just like I added tall fit recommendations for the young types, here are some petite stores. Before I go, if you want me to be your personal stylist or get downloadable style guides, just go to cocostyling.com. I'll see you soon with the classics and the gamins. And if you want me to talk about anything related to fashion and style, write it in the comments. Bye!